Hello and welcome to the WCA Pro Qualifiers, where 16 of Hearthstone's finest players will compete for 4 spots at Gamescom. I'm Akoblad, and joining me on the cast today is none other than Kaldi. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent here. We have Powder versus StanCifka in the first match. A really nice opening game, I think. We have Powder been doing really well the past 3 or 4 months, struggling a bit the past few weeks. StanCifka, the Magic the Gathering legend, won DreamHack Bucharest, but is maybe looking to make this a second big win for him here. So should be excellent right off the bat here. Going to be looking at the brackets now. So we have Powder versus StanCifka, then we have Unit versus Gara. Then in the third match we're going to have Colento versus Vortex, and then end with Höy versus Show. So a packed day one here for us.
Yeah, we've got some matches where some established pros are going to be kind of competing against each other, but we also have some underdogs coming up who'll be facing against some of the more established players like Colento, and same with Gara as well. You know, a need going against Gara. But at first, like you said, we have Powder versus StanCifka. Both players showing great performance recently in Hearthstone with some great results. So Powder, you know, he's like you said, he's had a bit of a dip in form recently over the last 3 weeks, but he was really finding kind of the game of his life during DreamHack Bucharest. You know, he's had great form at Insomnia, great form at Gfinity, and he got top 8 at DreamHack. Well, StanCifka, on the other hand, like you said, he won DreamHack Bucharest.
Yeah, everyone can remember StanCifka, I guess, you know, winning the tournament and also losing on, what was it, turn 3 against Firebat. So it's kind of interesting. We have StanCifka with Warlock, Warrior, Hunter, about the most standard lineup you can possibly bring right now in this meta, and then you have Powder with Warlock, Paladin, and Warrior. So both of them being Warrior, both of them being Warlock. I think it'll be interesting which Warlock it's going to be, but I think the Paladin is going to be the weak choice here. I would expect maybe both of them to start with Warrior, actually. I mean, look at StanCifka, the Warrior should be decent against everything the Powder has, and kind of same for Powder. But I think when the Warlock and the Warrior are out, then Powder's going to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm going to have to give a slight edge to StanCifka here. Yeah,
like you said, the mid Paladin is not as great as it used to be. The Quartermaster doesn't have the impact it once had on the game. I mean, Patron is just almost a better version of Quartermaster. So Powder has brought mid Paladin to some of his lineups in previous tournaments, and it's been his weakest link. So I'm curious to why he's decided to switch back to mid Paladin, where he could choose something a lot stronger like Hunter. Now, Hunter has a lot of archetypes going into the meta right now, so it's definitely a strong pick. But overall, like, the picks are pretty standard. You know, Hunter, Warlock, Warrior being the 3 power classes of the meta game right now, and Warlock is probably going to be the big question mark for both players. You know, a lot of archetypes are in the game right now, and it can be quite hard to mulligan against Warlock unless you kind of know the player and what he likes playing.
I think to note this, you know, if you have being Paladin, people right now are going to be looking at being an aggro Paladin and maybe mulliganing against that, keeping Whirlwind, like, for example. Whereas you might throw them off if you bring a mid Paladin, and if people are bringing Hunter, the most common one right now is going to be mid Hunter, and Paladin is really good against mid Hunter, as Paladin is one of the few classes that actually has an answer to that Savannah Hyman. You have the Aldor, you know, you have the quality as well. So if Powder finds himself against the mid Hunter, he might be in a good position overall.
Yeah, but the problem with the mid Paladin as well, a lot of mind games comes into these formats, especially when you know the players you're facing. So if you're expecting, say, mid Hunter, you might get a few players who end up bringing something like aggro Hunter to counter that, where Paladin can really fall short on that matchup. So it's very much going to be dependent on kind of what the players are expecting their opponents to bring, and what kind of reads they get on their lineups. So we're actually going into the first game here. We're starting off with the mulligans. We have Powder here starting off with the Patron Warrior, and StanCifka starting off with a Hunter, but we're not quite sure which one it is yet because the mulligan cards are not really giving us enough information.
Like we were talking about, Powder bringing the Warrior was the most likely scenario here. I guess against Hunter, you might want to look at the Acolyte only, and that's what we're going to see here. StanCifka throwing away the bow, kind of understandable. You want to keep, in general, against Warrior, you want the Savannah Hyman if you have it. Arcane Golem, okay, Leopard Gnome and Freezing Death. This looks like it's going to be a hybrid Hunter, I would say.
Yeah, it's when we get to this point of the card draw that we kind of get a good idea of what Hunter, and obviously the Leopard Gnome and the Freezing Trap give a lot of indication of what style Hunter this is. So Powder's going to start off with the Unstable Ghoul here, challenge the Leopard Gnome, starts taking the momentum away from StanCifka. You know, Powder went into this this match quite confident. He actually said to us he's gonna he said when he's done with StanCifka, he's gonna wish he stuck to Magic the Gathering. Bold words there.
Ouch, yeah. And we have, I guess, the perfect counter right off the bat here with Unstable Ghoul against the Leopard Gnome. you can't get much worse than that. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to use a abusive sergeant, or you're going to be looking at a weapon. There's not much you can do, and the table good to get a 2-for-1 here.
Looks like he's just going to play the freezing trap. Probably hold off his attack here, try and bait out an attack from Powder. But Powder's more than likely not going to take the bait here. Picks up the Armor Smith here, so not only is he going to have an unstable ghoul to sit here, he's going to have some. He's going to be able to gain some armor. It looks like he's going to test the trap here. Oh no, he's playing Armor Smith here. So if it's an explosive trap, he'll gain some armor off it, but his Armor Smith will lose some health. So he's probably kind of way up, but he decides to actually go into the Lepinome here. So he's going to guarantee it's going to be a freezing trap or a snake trap. It's not going to proc an explosive trap. So that's going to be the end of his turn. Unstable Ghoul returns to the hand with a 4-mana cost. So StanCifka's now got an opportunity to do something.
I think the main thing is this should come down to what the Hunter draws. If the Hunter, gets a solid curve with a Palder Sweater into Lothep into Savannah, he generally does very well in this matchup. Whereas if the draw is very aggro-based, the Patron can generally do well against that. So it's a bit back and forth here. We have a very aggressive hand though from StanCifka, the kill command, the arcane golem, the knife juggler in the second leper gnome. So we're looking at an arcane golem here on turn 3. Generally not a 3-drop, I would have thought, but making it work here.
Yeah, that's a rough decision for StanCifka. They're having to take out that Armor Smith before it starts getting some value and starts building some health on Powder. But by using this Arcane Golem, he's actually put him ahead on the mana curve. So this could end up quite costly for StanCifka because it speeds up the Patron turn. But as we can see in Powder's hand, he doesn't have all the tools he needs just yet. And he decides to play the Unstable Ghoul here, which proved to be really strong at the start of the game. So he's going to be able to take out these 2 minions and regain the board.
Oh yeah, a lot of value there. I mean, we better have a Whirlwind, I guess, in terms of the Acolyte of Pain plus the Whirlwind, but for the scenario, it's pretty decent here. So I would actually put Powder slightly ahead. I mean, the matchup is generally about even, very draw dependent. If the Hunter draws well, it's his favorite. If he doesn't, it's not doing too well. But now we have a 3-drop plus on Fireworks, and I think this is looking pretty bleak now for StanCifka here in game number 1.
Yeah, he's got some clunky options in his hand there, the freezing trap, the kill command, and his board's going to be dealt with. Well, definitely the knife juggler is going to be dealt with here. Depending on what free drop he wants to play will kind of dictate what weapon he plays. I mean, if he plays Deathbite now, he can set up for an Acolyte or maybe a Frothing Berserker if he's feeling a bit bold. Playing the Fiery War Axe just gives him a bit more mana stability. He can use the Fiery War Axe, drop the free drop, but it seems like Powder values the Whirlwind effect over playing on curve here.
Yeah, I think he's maybe anticipating a Lothep, but with the hand we see, it probably would have been better to go for the Frothing and Fiery War Axe. But yeah, Unleash the Hounds doesn't do much for StanCifka at all. It's about the worst card you could possibly have drawn, along with the freezing trap there. I mean, he's probably just not the hero power.
Hero power and pass on turn 5 for a Hunter is nothing you want to do. You lose your momentum as a Hunter player, especially as a Hybrid Hunter. The Hybrid Hunter very much relies on the tempo and the momentum of the match, especially early on, to gain control of the game, and it's just looking really bleak. He decides to drop the freezing trap here. He needs to play something. He doesn't want to be mana inefficient. So it looks like Powder is looking really strong here. Yeah,
the longer the game goes, the stronger it's going to be for Powder here. I actually wouldn't mind just going for the Taskmaster and Acolyte. You don't need to use the weapon right now. There's nothing forcing you to do that in this position here. You have the Frothing as well. I mean, but in general, at least there's been no draw of the Patron overall. So StanCifka has a few turns to maybe get a Savannah rolling. I think people, when they're playing Patron against mid-hunt, they always underestimate how strong Execute is. Execute is an excellent card in this matchup here. As if you can't really execute the Savannah, what are you going to do? Run 3 Patrons into it, or...
It's interesting. He's going for the Battle Rage here. You're only going to get 1 card. It seems he wants to find that Patron, and we see a Brawl.
Oh yeah, it's strong for the mirrors. People have been rather running Harrison or Brawl, or even going bold and going for both of them. But I have to say that this is not what I would have done. I mean, let's say that he just picks up a weapon and kills the Taskmaster, then you still can't proc the freezing trap. So having 2 minions on board, I think would be stronger. But not going to get punished for it. Gonna have the freezing trap procced here. Probably a no misinventor drop down and a 3-drop. I can't see anything else happening here. I mean, there's no reason to hang on to them at this point.
Yeah, he's got some opportunities to draw some cards here. He's highlighting over this War Song. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think just be a mistake. I mean, I can't see any real value in that at this point.
So maybe he's thinking he can clear this Haunted Creeper with a War Song and say a Frothing Berserker.
You don't need to though. In this case, I mean,
he's not. Once you see Leper Gnomes, you shouldn't be expecting Houndmasters, for example. So it looks like
this is so weird. Okay.
Oh, interesting. I can see Powder's train of thought here. He's so far ahead that if he can just chip away at any minions that StanCifka drops from now on, he's sure to win. And StanCifka actually draws into the second kill command here, and the only beast he had was that Haunted Creeper. So in a way, it did pay off for Powder. He stopped a lot of burst damage coming out, because StanCifka's game plan from here must be to defeat him as fast as possible, and Kill Command, Unleash a Hound plays into that strategy. So I think Powder's kind of limited the effectiveness of that strategy so far.
Yeah, I mean, double Kill Command is not what you want at this point. He's going to have to rely on Powder overextending and giving him 5 or 6 hounds here, but without a weapon, it's not going to happen. I mean, we have him at 15 health here. There's no Armor Smith, thankfully, in Powder's hand, so he's going to have to probably Hero Power. I would have thought maybe even Unstable Ghoul is likely here.
So a turn 7 Hero Power past the StanCifka, very poor play from him. He didn't have much choice. The Unstable Ghoul here is excellent because it stops something like an Unleash the Hounds. So Powder's got an opportunity to go on the aggressive here, and it's looking really good for him.
Yeah, Powder realizes he probably has lethal next turn, no matter what, because of the Frothing and the Whirlwind. So he's just playing as passively as possible. I mean, 17 health, a taunt up, you know, Unleash the Hounds won't really work, and we see StanCifka here top taking a Nerubian, a Haunted Creeper. It's not going to be enough at all. I mean, he might even have to throw a Kill Command at the War Song out of desperation, but that's basically going to give away his win condition. I think maybe just one Kill Command to face and Hero Powering. But maybe if he gets a quick shot, there's some possibility, but it's looking really bleak.
Yeah, he hasn't got the opportunity here to use a Kill Command on the War Song because he's so far behind, and his game plan must be to just finish off Powder as quick as possible. So Kill Command and the War Song would just go against that game plan and go against what his hand is dictating, the strategy he must take on. But Powder's going to actually drop the Frothing Berserker here. He might have enough damage for lethal.
I think if you go for the Cruel Taskmaster on the Haunted Creeper and run the Unstable Ghoul in, you get the lethal. I believe so. Yeah. Then you can blow up the ghoul and get even more damage, but it should be fine as well, right? Yeah, you can do it for the slam as well, I guess. My idea would be you get more damage because if you use the Cruel Taskmaster, you can also attack him in for 2.
Yeah, he went with a similar line of play. He's got the same idea. He just did it a little bit differently.
Oh yeah.
Has he found the lethal here? He's playing the... Oh yeah, so he's
yeah,
playing
it's going to be lethal, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing the free. He's going to drop the Whirlwind. It just seemed like he was trying to draw cards there, but of course this Frothing Berserker is going to build so strong. This is one of the frightening things in Patron Warrior right now. Really powerful card that can just deal so much burst damage. It's incredible.
I think a thing to note for the players that maybe get a little bit nervous, if you see the yellow and turn button, you have lethal no matter what. If it's green, then you don't have lethal, and you should be worried.
Alright, so Powder takes a very convincing game number 1 against the Hunter. That was a really strong play from Powder there. A bit unfortunate for StanCifka. The Unstable Ghoul really stopped him in his tracks turn 2 onwards with a bit of a clunky hand. So Powder is going to go 1-0 up, and he's a little bit closer to qualifying. But we're actually going to take a quick break, and we'll be back very quickly with some more WCA action.
the same way, you have to let yourself wake up. Become liberated.
All right, guys, welcome back to WCA Pro Qualifiers. We just had Powder take game number 1 from StanCifka with the Patron Warrior. So we'll be going to game number 2 really shortly, but how do you feel that game went?
It went kind of as expected. StanCifka didn't have the best hand. He kind of drew the only cards he didn't want, turn after turn after turn, so he fell way behind. But I mean, the scenario was going to be okay for Powder anyway. We talked about Powder having his Warrior be strong against all of StanCifka's classes, but still there's going to be that Paladin left. And I feel like Powder's still in a lot of trouble because he will need to get a win with that Paladin. So even though StanCifka is 1-0 down, I think he's still ahead in the match overall.
Yeah, when he gets that win with that Paladin, if it does come, Powder should be on the way to winning, but like you said, that Paladin matchup is going to be a tough one, and we're going into game number 2 right now, and the mulligans will be coming up. It will be the Paladin, so this is the match that's going to count for Powder. He's going to need to pull through with this deck if he wants to succeed.
I think realistically he's going to have 2 or 3 chances with that Paladin. We have him against Patron though, and a very decent hand. This is looking like the aggro Paladin though, so that's going to change up a lot of things. I think having the coin is so critical for the aggro paladin. Hildi mini bot, Blessing of Might, True Silver champion. You generally, when you fail playing the aggro paladin, you just wanna not draw 2 True Silver champions and a divine favor. So things looking good. I think.
No, the matchup's changed completely now. Powder's actually caught me by surprise. He's leaned towards the mid paladin a lot in some of his lineups, but you know, Green Sheep and Blackout found a lot of success with this deck at Valencia recently at DreamHack. So maybe he's adopted this aggro deck. It's one of I've been playing it a lot personally, and I really enjoy it. And I find it's very hard to deal with, especially with these Divine Shields getting buffed by the Blessings of Might, Blessing of Kings. And it's a really fast deck. It's, I'm glad Paladin has a new archetype that is competitive.
Oh yeah. It's kind of been brought on by the decline of the mid paladin, and I really like this idea from Powder. If he had the mid paladin, I think he would be in a lot more trouble. Now we have a Harrison Jones Armorsmith and a Frothing here from StanCifka. Not too bad. But there's going to be no weapon. That's going to be the crucial thing. No ghoul as well. I played this matchup, I believe it was yesterday, against Kranich, and yeah, the ghoul was the key there. Coin Sildi Minibot. I mean, what can you do against that? What 2-drop compares to Sildi Minibot in turn 2? There's very few. Maybe the Mad Scientist and nothing else, I think.
Yeah, not even the Armorsmith can challenge it. At most, it can knock off the shield and deal 1 damage to it, but that won't be enough. The Shield of Minibot a very powerful card for the Paladin, especially in a deck like this. And with that shield up, it gives Powder opportunities to buff it with stuff like Blessing of Might, Blessing of Kings, which makes it even harder to deal with because the Patient Warrior very much relies on trading and execute alone to deal with minions, and right now he doesn't really have what he needs in his hand.
I actually really like when people go for Taskmaster against the Hildi Minibot, you know, on turn 2. With that answer there, we have, 1 Abusive Sergeant. I don't mind this at all.
Yeah, it seems he just wanted to clear up the Armorsmith here, not let him gain any health.
You gotta go for the inner range as well, and obviously StanCifka realizes that right away. Kills the Abusive Sergeant and kind of contests the board, but 2 Battle Rage is not what you want. He may actually, have too much draw for his own liking, as we have the Divine Favor possibility from the Paladin, but I mean, just on value right now, the Paladin is slightly ahead, which is scary to think about here.
Yeah, StanCifka's had another case of having bad draws. Maybe this Gnomish Inventor will find what he needs to be able to contest this board of Whirlwind. And then Stable Ghoul, those 2 cards are very powerful against his aggro Paladin because a lot of their minions have 1 health.
I can't think of a better draw here, honestly, for StanCifka, and he's gotta go for this one. I mean, he can't go for the Battle Race that won't do anything, and Hero powering up, is that really gonna be an option here? Against an aggro Paladin, I can't see him doing anything except the Gnomish here.
Hero powering alone would just not be enough, but it also shows Powder that he doesn't really have answers to anything. He does find the other Inner Rage, another card that can deal with some of the aggression of the Paladin, but he's really got a way up. Will this Inner Rage be something he needs to enable a Battle Rage, for example? Would you keep hold of it, or are you afraid of the aggression Powder can mount from this board?
I think if I had a better hand, I would go for this one, but Powder's hand currently is a bit weak. You see the True Silver champion trading. Powder's playing this a bit passively even for aggro Paladin, because generally he's going for the face, but I mean, he kind of had to kill the Armorsmith or it would have gone out of control.
StanCifka has an exciting opportunity here to get rid of that weapon, take away some of the Paladin's damage, but not only that, draw further into his deck, get that clunky hand out of the way, start drawing some cards. He decides to go for the Inner Rage here, clearing up the board. Like you said, Powder's played a bit passively here. It's turn 5, the Warrior hasn't started bleeding that much, he's still at 28 health, so it looks like StanCifka could stabilize very shortly.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. I mean, could be looking at the Wolfire as well.
He trades again. He uses that Blessing of Might to trade again, and he's still not dealing enough damage to this Warrior.
Oh yeah, I think, yeah. He's just looking at a scenario where the Patrons won't get out of control, but I mean, StanCifka's hand is not the best right now. We have the no-miss possibility with the Hero power, but I think Battle Rage may have been better. The Whirlwind is huge, but I think you go Battle Rage here over Hero power.
The thing with the Paladin deck, from what I can see of it, of what I've played with it, the longer it goes into the game, especially against someone like Patron, the more vulnerable it becomes to Patron's effects, the Grim Patron and the charge in, and developing lots of minions, because they're going to get stuff like Muster for Battle, which is going to lose value the longer it goes into the game, because you're just playing into the combo deck's hand. So Powder's been trading all the way up to this point. Do you think he's not playing this deck as well as he could be? Should he be more aggressive?
I think there was no question about killing the Hammersmith, but I don't like killing the Harrison Jones earlier. It was kind of necessary, but he at least is going in face here, so that's for sure correct. He goes for the Battle Rage to start with. I would like to see the Despite follow up, but probably Despite don't even go to face. I mean,
I mean, he's given StanCifka the opportunity to draw cards. He's given him the opportunity to find options, and that's exactly what he's done. He's got the Unstable Ghoul, a very good card against this deck. He's found the Despite. He's going to be able to deal with some of the minions, especially when the Death Rattle becomes available. He'll be able to deal with this 5/5 if he wants to, as he decides to trade, of course. But not only that, he's playing into the Patron's hand now. He's given the Patron time to find the cards he needs to get that combo, and Powder's running out of options.
I think, yeah. Ooh, Fiery Warlock, interesting. I would have gone Despite every day of the week too.
Well, Despites, Death Rattle sets up for clearing minions, a lot of the bulk of minions that Powder's deck has. So yeah, I think I like the Despite here.
And the slight misstep, he could have, you know, used the Frothing Berserker before attacking and had him at what, 5 damage, I believe. There's no reason not to go for that.
So Powder's slow line of play here has taken StanCifka down to 15 health, but there's been some weapon hits, so we've got to take that into account as well. It's going to very much depend where he goes as True Silver champion. The Frothing Berserker on its own is not that frightening, but as the board develops, it gets a lot scarier, and especially when there's not a Death Spite available. So what would you like him to do with this True Silver?
I think you have to go to face, honestly, but the thing is, though, since StanCifka delayed going for the Despite, he's going to have to wait even longer with the Grim Patron. I feel like, you know, if he just had the option now to have a Despite, he could clear the 1/1. He doesn't really need to have this Frothing on board. It's not going to do that much. He could drop the Unstable Ghoul as well and get a solid game going here with the Patron, start drawing Battle Rage. So I feel like stalling that and going for the Frothing, I don't see a good reason for that, just to get value out of the Fiery Warlocks. It's not going to come down to value at this point, it's going to come down to speed only. So even though StanCifka has been playing this really well so far, I think I have to disagree with the last turn here.
So it looks like Powder does actually go for face. He gets the Whirlwind, so he's got a lot of Whirlwind options within his cards, which can clear some of these minions. As we can see, Powder does have a Muster, so it's going to become very vulnerable to some of StanCifka's hand. He's going to need to stabilize really soon, because the Paladin might be able to apply some more damage, say with an Arcane Golem or something like that, or a Blessing of Kings or a Blessing of Might. So StanCifka might have the opportunity to stabilize here and develop a board of his own.
The Whirlwind is perfect for this scenario here, and I guess the only threat is if Powder top decks like Equality, you could just Equality and attack into the Unstable Ghoul for a full clear, wouldn't even need the AoE. So there's some, I guess, merit to not using the Ghoul, but I feel like it's the way to go though, since we missed the weapon up.
The Ghoul's going to protect him here from 4 damage from that True Silver. No silence available. And if he decides to clear this Unstable Ghoul, these Patrons are going to start spawning more guys. Everyone's going to get in there, and it's going to be a really threatening board for Powder to deal with.
He's got to hurry up, though. There's no option, I guess, not to go for everything here. He's going to have to rely on getting a few of the Jokers, either hit to the Frothing or hit face, but it's looking unlikely here.
So this could potentially be his last turn.
It's very likely his last turn even, I'd say, with how things are looking right now. Oh, wow. Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow. That is
2 to face.
2 to face and clears the free one. Where's this knife going to go? Okay, so a bit unfortunate there, but I don't think he could have had anything better from his RNG there.
Yeah, he has to clear the Frothing, and now he's going to have to rely on a Divine Favor or lose the game here. But, oh, wow, the Unstable Ghoul is just what StanCifka needs. I'd actually think about not using the Battle Rage, possibly.
Well, StanCifka has options to draw, options to develop the board more, options to push more damage. He's just got everything he needs here.
Oh, and the War Song. Oh.
And like you said, Powder's going to need a Divine Favor here if he's going to want to get back into this game. Because he's, especially now that the Battle Rage is being used.
I think his idea was to look for Hammersmith. There's only 1 left in the deck. But in general, yeah, they should be quite strong.
I think this is going to be StanCifka's game. I don't see how Powder can really pull out. He's just used the Arcane Golem, and from the list I've seen, they only generally run one. And we've seen a Wolf Rider already as well, so...
It's going to have to come down to Divine Favor. There's no other possibility here that I see, at least, for this one. I mean, Equality would stall the game, but it's not going to be enough, though, to take it late game. But again, we see Patron kind of living up to its title as the strongest deck in the meta right now, so going to put him down to 15, easily lethal next turn. Wolf Rider is not going to be enough to change this around, so we see a forfeit from Powder, and the game is going to be 1-1 now with this series.
So yeah, StanCifka is bringing it back with the Patron, much like Powder when he brought it back with his Patron Warrior. So yeah, a good play from StanCifka. You know, he had a really awkward hand to start with, and he managed to pull it back, and I think it ultimately came down to some of Powder's decisions that allowed StanCifka to take the game. I
think the Harvestion was key there. You know, StanCifka's hand wasn't looking too strong, but then we had the turnaround with the True champion there. I think if there would be no True champion, he would have had to play for a 5-4, you know, wouldn't have given the draw. Powder would have the weapon available for later, so let's say that he maybe goes for the Blessing of Kings, then StanCifka would be forced to go for the Harvestion a turn early and not draw a card, and really just be in a lot of trouble. So it was a bit clunky how things went, but I mean, considering the Harvestion play after that, I think Powder couldn't have done really anything to change things around.
Yeah, Harrison's kind of swung a lot of things into his favor, but not only that, the aggro Paladin degrades in value the further you go into the game, like most aggro decks, but the problem with Patron is Patron just interacts with the Paladin's cards so easily and plays into its favor. So on paper, I think that's Patron's game to take easily. But like you said, StanCifka had a kind of a weird hand, and that Harrison swung things back in his favor.
So both players having their warrior out here, and looking at a Paladin versus Warlock, it seems a decent matchup here for, I would say, the Paladin.
Yeah, the Paladin, although he doesn't find much here, Blessing of Kings is a bit slow, but Shielded Minibot is definitely going to be very good here. And he actually plays the Argent Protectors, which you didn't see last time, so that's not a card I've been using personally or I've seen, so maybe this is a little tech from Powder.
But just horror here for Powder. I mean, he doesn't have a 1-drop, and not having a 1-drop is just almost lights out often with the aggro Paladin. He's in such a hurry. But there's no Divine Favor yet. Powder would want to draw that maybe turn 4, turn 5. So a lot of options here. I feel, you know, in general though, with StanCifka, I mean, I would have maybe liked him to just start with a Warlock.
Yeah, look at his Warlock hand. We know we've talked about how StanCifka's hands have been bad, but look at this hand. He's got a Silence, ready for any Blessing of Kings comes down. He's got an Anti-Heal Bot, which will help him swing his life back in his favor. He's got the Hellfire to deal with the board, and then he's got the Molten Giant. And he picks up the Mortal Coil, which is a great card to deal with a lot of the 1-drops that these Paladins run. So his hand is looking fantastic.
The thing though is, you know, like I was talking about the idea of starting with Warlock as StanCifka if he had a handlock. I assumed he may be going for the Shoelock possibly, but if he has the handlock, you know, you look at Patron, you're really favored against Patron as handlock. You look at Paladin, should be doing good against Paladin with handlock, and then you look at a Warlock mirror, and you beat the midlock, and then it's the handlock mirror. You can just kind of, you know, if you're playing handlock, you should be comfortable in the handlock mirror as well. I feel so. With Powder's Warrior already out, I'm not sure how this Warlock is going to pick up its win here. Blessing of Kings, having the Owl out, I guess that's a safe bet here. StanCifka at 20 health, there's at least a Molten Giant, so that's something, but the Hellfire is not going to do much damage here.
Yeah, the Hellfire is not going to find much value, only 2 minions, and it's not even going to clear the 6/6. Do you think he was a bit too hasty with that Owl?
I don't think so, no. You've got to play a 2-drop if you have the option on turn 2 as the Warlock. I don't like keeping the Hellfire against the Paladin. You need a 4-drop instead, you know, a Twilight Drake or possibly even a Belcher here. But there's nothing he can do here. I think maybe going with the BGH on curve is what he needs to do.
Yeah, BGH is not going to find much love in this matchup. It's not a lot of big drops in the deck. A lot of the stats comes from cards like Blessing of Kings and Blessing of Might, and you might not actually find any value from the BGH. So dropping it here just to contest the board might help him hold off this aggression from Powder.
In general, though, if you're playing handlock, you want to have a 2-drop, either a Dark Bomb, a Ancient Watcher, or an Owl on turn 2. Then you want to take it over to a 4-drop into a 5-drop. That's generally the idea. If you get a Mortal Coil off, then that's just an added bonus, but it's mainly about the 2-drop, the 4-drop, and the 5-drop. And now StanCifka hit the 2-drop, Powder had a counter, didn't hit the 4-drop, and does look like he has a good 5-drop setup. So Powder is just ahead here.
Yeah, popping him down to 14 health already. Just out of range for making really cheap Molten Giants. It's only turn 5. He's probably going to trade into this 4-2 here. I don't see any reason not to.
I would have wanted him to go for the Juggler and Muster first. Try to hit the BGH, because the Paladin health doesn't really matter. Always looking at, okay, keeping him at 14. Probably not going to go with Juggler, probably I would go for the Artisan Protector on the 6-6, I mean.
Yeah, it would have protected him. The 6-6 has had a lot of value at the moment.
And Hellfire and Dark Bomb top deck, so Hellfire Dark Bomb will clear here. But one more damage and StanCifka could have played the Moltens. But think about that idea though. If he had gone for the Artisan Protector on the Shield mini bot there, he couldn't have done this.
So a bit of a misplay from Powder there, not protecting the 6-6. Maybe he didn't see the value in it. Maybe he wanted to protect his Knife Juggler a little later on. But
you just don't want to hold on to cards as an Acro Paladin at all. You don't want to save stuff. You want to go down to 1 or 2 cards and then have a strong Divine Favor in the mid game. Because, yeah, I mean, this is rough.
So he's got a Knife Juggler. He could potentially Argent Protector if he wants. The True Silver Champion is going to make this weapon a bit weaker. So he takes him down to 10. Decides to muster
7,
again.
yeah. The thing is, the muster deals 4 damage, just like the True Silver Champion in this position, and the 2 damage is the 2 healing. I mean, from the True Silver Champion is kind of irrelevant here. It's better to have the surprise factor of the True Silver, because sometimes you wouldn't play around it all.
He actually finds another Hellfire here.
A tough call though here for StanCifka.
He's really low. If he decides to Hellfire here, he just plays into this True Silver Champion, which will lead to a 2-1 victory for Powder, and he doesn't want that. So he's probably thinking around what Powder has available to him. And what he saw from last game, he saw an Arcane Golem, he saw a Wolf Rider. So he's got to make some choices here. He does have the anti-heal bot, so he has an option to heal up a little bit. Obviously, he'll play the Molten Giant, and he can clear one of the 1-1s with the Mortal Coil.
I think there's no option here to go for the Hellfire. It's going to be Mortal Coil tap, or Mortal Coil, yeah, or Molten Giant and the heal bot. So there's either tap, Argus, or heal bot, and the heal bot is overall stronger. I feel like, as you know, the idea would be to get a second Molten from the tap, and yeah, the abusive coming down. This is going to be close.
Yeah, it's looking really good for Powder. Although StanCifka does have some options next turn. He has a Defender of Argus. He does have a Shadow Flame as well. So we do see the Argent Protector actually come down on the Knife Juggler now. It looks like that seems to be the game plan here. Going to swing for 4 with his True Silver, taking StanCifka very low. If he had any more Molten Giants, we would have seen them. So Powder's not afraid of them right now. He's just going for the kill here.
I like the detail of attacking the heal bot. You don't want to have it able to be taunted or shadow flamed, but there's an option here to go for Big Game Hunter. No, not Big Game Hunter. No, what am I saying? I guess possibly you could attack into the Juggler, Big Game Hunter your own Molten Giant, and then Shadow Flame for a clear. You stay alive with 1 health. It's an option, but I mean, if he's holding back 1 card, it's likely to be Divine Favor, Owl. You wouldn't really be holding back a 1-drop in Hero Powering or a 2-drop in Hero Powering, and if you had the Wolfar or Arcane Golem, you would have played them last time for lethal anyway. So, you set up him with a Molten, don't mind that as well. This is even stronger, yeah. Get the Big Game Hunter out there. But, yeah, StanCifka is hurting big time here.
Didn't he have the option to keep the Molten there, though? If he had Shadow Flame the back BGH instead?
No, because we just had to kill the Molten. Yeah, have to use it, I guess, yeah. But Powder here top decks the Arcane Golem with the lethal here. A small misstep, but I think in general the players are playing really well. Gotta give credit to StanCifka as well. I think even though Powder is now 2-1 ahead, StanCifka has not been playing worse at all in this series.
All right, so a 2-1 lead for Powder here. StanCifka's been fighting really hard here to stay in this series, but he's had a string of bad draws here and there in a few games. But Powder, he's made some plays that we have found questionable, but overall his gameplay has been good. He's taken the wins here. So what do we have left for Powder?
We have Powder with only the Warlock, and we have StanCifka with the Hunter and the Warlock. Now we could be looking at a mid-lock, in that case both the Hunter and the Handlock are good against that, or we could be looking at a Handlock and then the mid-Hunter is good against that and they have a mirror, so I think it's still going to be close, yeah. Even though Powder is 2-1 ahead, I feel like StanCifka can absolutely bring this back, and I'm looking for. I kind of want him to have a handlock for a handlock mirror. I think that'll be really exciting as a game 5. Yeah.
I totally agree. Handlock mirrors, it very much comes down to it's such a mechanical matchup.
Oh yeah,
it's so mechanical, and it definitely showcases player skill.
It goes to late game almost every time as well. And even though you get a stronger hand as the handlock, it's very rare that it's a stronger hand that it can actually take the game rather than the mid game. It generally just goes to the late game, and as you have the Shadow Flame and the Molten. So yeah, it looks like we can go into the game here in a few seconds. But yeah, I mean, Powder overall hasn't played StanCifka in a tournament before, so this is going to be the first time they play in a pro tournament.
Yeah, and they're both, like I said, players are kind of almost equal caliber. They've both had found a lot of success in the last few months. They were both very consistent at one point during the DreamHack Bucharest phase. Powder was kind of in the form of his life, I found, taking like a top 8 in Gfinity, top 8 in DreamHack. He won Insomnia 54 as well.
A strong tournament there, yeah. But a thing to note is like the last 2 months for these players, we have StanCifka with 6 wins, 7 losses, 47% win rate there, and we have Powder with 11 wins, 11 losses. So for the past 2 months, these players have not been doing too well, and I think that's among the lowest of the 16 competitors here in terms of the last 2 months. So we have a mid-lock though against a Hunter. Looks like a hybrid Hunter here from StanCifka, as we saw that before. That's a very even matchup. I feel like even slightly favored for the mid-lock. So I'm liking Powder's chances here in game number 4.
We actually had a talk with StanCifka about this match because we wanted to find out what players thought about their opponents and their chances going into this event. And StanCifka actually said he felt he had an easier part of the bracket, and here he is down 2-1 to Powder. So maybe he's changed his opinion a little bit now.
Oh yeah, and I mean, on the flip side, Powder talking about sending StanCifka back to Magic the Gathering, looking like an option here. I mean, with the scenario, I mean.
Well, he's winning. I mean, Powder's showing that he's got the stuff here. He wants to send him back to Magic, and maybe he'll drop him a message later saying, "Get your land cards out, buddy. You're going back to that game."
I look at the at the last Conquest lineup here. We have StanCifka and Starladder. He played Patron, Echo-Mage, and Priest, so a heavy anti-Patron lineup. But he went for a bit of an all-rounder here. Whereas Powder was playing, at Insomnia, was playing Phase Hunter, Freeze Mage, and Control Warrior, so completely different lineup there. We have the Unleash the Hounds coming down. It's not too bad, but overall the midlock is just ahead.
Yeah, he's got that 4/4, and this is going to be a freezing trap. He might hold off with the 4/4 here, or is he? No, he just wants to get rid of it. This one hound alone is not going to be able to challenge this Imp Gam boss very easily.
I kind of want to question though the idea of attacking after dropping the Imp Gang boss. If this was a misdirect or a explosive trap, it wouldn't be as good, but maybe Powder is just that confident in being a freezing trap that he doesn't mind taking the risk.
Although Powder did see 2 freezing traps last time he played against this deck, so maybe he's confident that we're not going to see any cheeky traps thrown in like misdirect and stuff.
Or Snipe, yeah.
Or Snipe.
Snipe's been added in recently. But yeah, I mean, again, we see StanCifka with, kind of a weak hand, double kill command, 2 Unleash the Hounds, just like last time.
Yeah, it looks like history is repeating itself. And Powder here being able to take some initiative, take the board back with this Knife Juggler. But he does have an Unleash the Hounds here. He can maybe do some work with it. But the Imp Gang boss is just awkward, and this Haunted Creep is awkward as well.
Oh yeah, I think Unleash the Hound has to come down here. And I kind of would like them to attack first, twice into the Haunted Creeper. I mean, why not?
That's true, yeah. He would have popped the Haunted Creeper, he would have got an extra minion from his Unleash the Hounds. I like that. It's a shame he didn't see that play. But it looks like he's going to take the more aggressive stance here. I do like this. He's got 2 kill commands backing him up. Just starts getting some momentum here. Oh, the defender of Argus off the top there. Going to build up a bit of defense against StanCifka's board. And he slams it right in between the Haunted Creeper and the Imp Gang boss. Two of the most annoying minions for this Hunter to deal with right now.
Oh yeah. We can get a 1/1 as well from that Imp Gang boss. Oh, he looks like this go to face. Don't mind him going to face if you have the taunt up now.
Powder showing his confidence here. He's not afraid of these hounds. He's just going to go face. No, these hunters also, we joke that hunters smoke, they go face. Face is the place, as they say. But Powder taking the initiative with the aggression here. And the high main comes down, a very bulky, sticky minion. But this Argus, is creating some problems.
Oh, yeah. I guess you could say he just unleashed those hounds, but we have the double kill command option. If he top decks an owl though, everything's gonna be wide open again for StanCifka, but he's just behind at this point.
Yeah, the owl is gonna be the card that swings things in his favor, and that Void Terror comes down again, building more momentum on this board, getting a 4-4, getting a 4-5. It's looking 4-6. Sorry, it's looking fantastic.
There was an option, I guess, just to swallow the egg and not take the 1-1 with you, but I think this idea is kill command being that. And the reason why not to go for that, I think maybe he just has to go for juggler hero power here. I mean, there's no unleash the hunt's gonna be coming in, so.
This high main ghost face. Juggler comes down. Maybe a freezing trap? No, freezing trap's just too weak here with the 1-1. So
yeah, it would have had to be hero power and a 2-drop in this case, I feel.
So StanCifka's not too far away from closing out this game. He's got that kill command in the back. This high main's gonna spawn 2 hyenas if it gets taken out. So he's still gonna have those beasts to activate the kill command. If he draws a quick shot or something, maybe this game will go in StanCifka's favor.
I mean, yeah, he can't properly clear this. And this is gonna be close. I mean, if he trades non-stop in, there's gonna be what left? You know, you could technically, I guess, but 1 bow and it's wide open again. Powder is ahead, but it's not by much.
He has to do something.
He
He's
has to
going
throw
to
everything
lose.
into this and just clear, you know. Yeah.
I mean, if he takes out the high main here, and he leaves what? Okay, so he's just going to have to clear. Well, I think it's fine. He's still ahead on board. He still has, he still has capability and the reach to finish the game. But the Arcane Golem comes off the top. And yes, this is busted wide open. StanCifka does have an opportunity to take this game soon.
I think you actually even might look at freezing trap, you know, because it's going to be so much mana. It's going to come down to the mana more than anything. I think he has to go for the Arcane Golem though. In this case, threaten lethal next turn. I don't see a reason not to, as there could be another top deck Defender of Arcus. But I think StanCifka's ahead here. Don't see a lethal coming in.
Oh, he goes for the kill command, so I'll put him on 1. So Powder needs to find an answer here. Flame Imp is not it. So StanCifka, although we commented on how his hand looked kind of sketchy at first, actually played into his game plan really well. You know, Hybrid Hunter, taking more aggressive stances.
Savannah OP, I guess. That's how it's going to be. I mean, StanCifka way behind, pulls the Savannah, forces Powder to throw everything into it. It came more down to just, in this case, it being the damage. I mean, 19 damage takes at least 2 turns for the Warlock, and it gives the Hunter more turns to draw into anything. Bow, Arcane Golem, Wolfire are all going to be good enough for this one, and we see it going to a game 5, a Warlock Mirror.
2-2, this Warlock Mirror could come handlock. This is what we want. We want to see these players, you know, be tested fully of their mechanical and decision making, and handlock Mirror would be fantastic. But
I think
unfortunately we have a midlock, which is not as fun. But Powder's, you know, rocking that midlock handlock. What do you feel about that matchup?
You can even call it Sue, but I kind of feel strange calling it Sue. You know, in terms of that you don't run the die with Alpha, and you also have Mal'Ganis and Dr. Boom generally in the deck. But I feel the handlock is favored if played correctly. It comes down to not keeping Hellfire, which may sound weird, okay, but the idea is you go for a 2-drop, a 4-drop, and then use the Shadow Flame and the Hellfire in the late game, not in the mid game, for those clears. And you cannot try to hang in there, in an even position for as many turns as you possibly can, and then go for the sweep in the late game with the Moltens and the Shadow Flame and the Hellfire. Not just to kind of take the damage, tap, go for a Hellfire, because those scenarios generally leave you at like 15, and then they have a whole turn to drop more stuff onto the board, and then you're still behind. Whereas if you go for, let's say, an Owl or a Ancient Watcher into a Twilight Drake, you can just get ahead or stay even without committing huge amount of damage to your own character there. So yeah, Warlock Mirror.
Midlock versus handlock. Like you said, you need, as a handlock player, to be able to contest the board really early. Having stuff like Ancient Watcher Owl definitely plays into that, because it's just a Yeti, a good solid minion to start hitting away at the Midlock's minions. But the thing Midlock has done with its deck development since GVG and BlackRock, it's just got such big swing cards now, like Bane of Doom and Voidcaller into Mal'Ganis. It didn't have that available to it before they came out in the recent expansion, so it just makes Warlock, the Zoo variant of Warlock, just much more threatening, because it just has massive heavy hitting cards which it didn't have before.
It also messes up other scenarios though, where you generally, if you play against Shaman, for example, before with the Zoo you just got so much pressure you could kind of force out the game. Whereas now, you know, you have a lot of silence targets, a lot of big hex target, so it really turns around there. I have to love StanCifka's keeping of the Twilight Drake. I think he's going to be favored in this match with the Twilight Drake there. I mean, he didn't keep the Ancient Watcher, that's because he didn't have an Owl or a Taunt to go with it. But yeah, just passing here is, I think, what you need to do.
So he's got a lot of good options, like you said. He's got the Twilight Drake, a bulky minion that can challenge Powder's kind of smaller minions, which he relies on early on. But not only that, he's got the Farseer as well, a nice like free to challenge some more minions. He's got the Argus, the Taunt Activator, another Twilight Drake, so he's got option for coin Twilight Drake next turn. It's looking pretty strong for him.
Yeah, an Earthring Farseer is what, kind of throws me off here. Generally you run 2 heal bots or I guess 2 Earthen Rings, but it's not common in this deck. Lothep and the rest is very common. I think there's some merit to go for the Owl here. I don't hate that actually, yeah. Owl into Twilight, into Lothep, but it's going to be a very strong curve.
Yeah, the Owl kills some of the tempo of Powder when that Death Rattle goes off. He doesn't have to worry about these little 1/1s being buffed by stuff like Power Overwhelming, Abusive Sergeant, Argus even later on. But he decides just to tap here.
I mean, Owl is excellent against all types of Warlock, Handlock, Midlock, Zoolock, Malilock even. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the scenario now, we'd only have a Juggler. If you go for the Owl, there's some merit, I guess, to keeping the Owl. But in general, I feel like it's more about tempo than it's about value for the Handlock. There are other matchups you want to go for the value. And saving it for an egg is obviously better, and saving it for a Void Color can be better. But still, if you wanna limit the limit the Zeus board as much as possible here.
Powder's strength is going to come from his early aggression, and then he's going to lead in kind of the mid game, going mid game to late game where he swings with Mal'Ganis and Sea Giant, stuff like that. So if you can limit his early game pressure, you're probably going to be a bit more secure, because at the end of the day, Warlock is going to Handlock, for example, is going to outvalue Mid Hunter with its
I want to
minions.
see Powder here go for the Juggler into the Drake. It's going to be a key play here. He cannot leave the Drake alive because he will be too vulnerable to health, and he goes for that play. Well played to Powder there, honestly, a lot of respect. I think the Twilight Drake is going to be an obvious choice here for StanCifka with a follow-up. But the Mountain Giant top deck, this is about as good as it gets for StanCifka. This is not a hand you can sit back on and play defensively. This is a hand you need to keep the pressure up yourself and present threats over and over. There's no Owl yet for Powder here. It doesn't even run the Direwolf Alpha. Okay, so this may cut the Dr. Boom for the Direwolf Alpha.
Yeah, Direwolf Alpha is going to make these 1/1s very valuable. Going to be able to take out this Twilight Drake. So Powder's contesting everything he's playing right now.
It's a correct play as well, It's the big Shadow Flames that throw the Zoolock off. I actually played Powder very recently in HPL in this matchup here specifically, and he traded a lot, and he played that matchup perfectly, in my opinion.
Okay.
In those scenarios, I did go for a 2-drop into 4-drop, and it worked out in the late game, but it comes down to a lot of other things, though. Now, the Mountain Giant is decent. I don't fault him for going that at all, because there could be a scenario on turn 6 where he needs to go for Ancient Watcher, Defender Arcus, and then on turn 7 he couldn't really go for the Mountain Giant for full value.
StanCifka's still got 21 health. He's still very healthy, and he knows Powder's trading here. Powder's kind of agenda with his game plan right now is just to contest StanCifka's board in anything he plays. So he's sitting pretty comfortable here. It looks like he's going to start developing this Void Color. He's not going to get a lot of value with a Flame Imp sitting in his hand, but he does have the option of a Defender of Argus. But maybe if he doesn't feel he can trade here, committing too much like a Defender of Argus would be too vulnerable to Shadow Flame. And the one thing I love about Void Color as a card, it's a mind game attached to that card when you're playing against deck, because you're so afraid of what can come out of it.
Oh yeah, I think if he drops it now, it's kind of hinting that he doesn't have anything. Because if he had a Mal'Ganis or a Doomguard, it would be really obvious. Because he couldn't really go for the attack in because of the possibility of a Shadow Flame. But an Owl here is decent. Yeah, unfortunately there could be no Shadow Flame here for StanCifka, but something like Owl, Ancient Watcher, Sun Fury, I would really like that.
Yeah, he doesn't really have to commit the Defender of Argus here to get that taunt up. So Sun Fury does play very nicely into that Sun Fury, Ancient Watcher, Mountain Giant, which creates a big wall for StanCifka.
Yeah, I want to see him silence the egg here and taunt up.
Okay, so he goes for the taunt, and the Owl is going to come down on the eggs, like you
Well
said.
played, yeah. Well played, StanCifka. He's playing this perfectly. Power overwhelming. It's gotta start with the tap. Yeah, there's no reason not to start with the tap here.
Another power overwhelming.
Power overwhelming. This is getting close. Yeah. Oof.
So Argus is looking to come down here. He has the power available to. He has 2 powers available to him to start clearing some of this board.
I think he has to go for both of them right now. Yeah. Sadly, he won't be able to use them on the egg.
So the in-ground boss here is going to be able to take out this giant and spawn a 1/1, so he still gets some momentum from this in-ground boss.
I think to note though is now Powder knows there's going to be no Shadow Flame incoming here, so he can comfortably trade here.
This is looking pretty nice for a Hellfire if he decides to go for it.
He has to start with trading in first though, but Hellfire, yeah, as you say, is the perfect thing. 2 Earthen Rings. I wonder if he has a second heal bot. Probably not, I guess. So he's valuing the damage over that here. Hellfire and Earthen Ring. There's no Molten, thankfully, for Powder. Thankfully, there's no Molten here for StanCifka, so Powder should be happy about that. But still, I mean, StanCifka is just way ahead here. I don't see him losing this from this position. As I mean, the power overwhelming, you can't play that on an empty board.
Only a power overwhelming hand for Powder. He's going to start drawing, tapping into things to fight back. But as you can see from StanCifka's hand, he's got 2 Farseers and a heal bot, so he'll be able to swing his health so high. And all that work that Powder had done is going to come to nothing, unfortunately. And he's going to get some free bodies on the board. It's looking good.
A perfect hand for StanCifka here, honestly. Yeah, it couldn't be any better. I feel overall in this game. Dr. Boom, though, wow.
That's a card you want to draw at this point.
Oh yeah, he played it against me on turn 7, I believe, and I did have the BGH. I actually topped out the BGH as well against Powder. What a draw here. I think you should attack first though into the boom bot before you do anything.
Yeah, so he can clear a boom bot, see what it does. BGH after, then he's got a heal bot if he wants. I think a heal bot's fine. He can low feb if he really wants to play aggressively from here on.
I want to look at if the boom bot hits face. I would like to see a heal bot. If it hits the Earthen Ring, I would like to see a low step myself.
Oh, and it takes out the Farseer.
I want to see low step here from StanCifka. I think there's no reason to go for the heal bot. And StanCifka agrees. Well played to him, yeah.
Plays around that power overwhelming in Powder's hand. Of course, he doesn't know it's there, but he has. This is what separates the good players from the bad. You know, predicting the cards that your opponent could have, which could really upset your day. And power overwhelming is one of those cards.
I think the main thing is knowing which cards you have to play around. You know.
Oh,
and a 4 attack here. Wow, this might change things up a bit.
Wow, so that some good value from those boom bots for Powder. He took out the Farseer and he took out the low febs. Looking good for him.
I think he's got to start with the tap though, StanCifka here. I don't see any other option. Tap Ancient Watcher heal bot wouldn't be bad. At this point, you just need to value. You can't just play from the stuff you have in your hand. It's not going to be good enough.
Do you really think Powder can come back here though? StanCifka still got a lot of giants to go through. You might have stuff like Rag, Dr. Boom, Jiraxxus. He's still got a lot of stuff to come down.
I mean, there's also options for Powder to draw. Let's say he draws a Doom card, everything is wide open again.
Although he's
this
got
isn't
a big
bad,
taunt.
yeah. This isn't bad. I would have preferred the tap myself, but oh well, yeah.
Finds the Abusive Sergeant, gives him an option to trade into this Ancient Watch if he wants. But the problem is this Death Rattle is not going to do a lot. So he's probably going to see where this Implosion goes first. It's going to hit the big game hunter. I mean, he could do on the Farseer, but it's such a risk because if he gets 2 damage here, at least he gets to take out the minion. But he did get a 4. It's not, again, it's still not worth the risk generally. Would you agree?
I think I would have, yeah, it would either be the big game hunter or the Ancient Watch actually, because you only take them for 3 to be able to trade it with the white color in there. The Abusive, okay, so he's looking at what, killing the Earthen Ring. That's all right.
I guess the Ancient Watcher can be left alone because it doesn't do anything. It just kind of sits there as a wall, and he hasn't got any risk of it being a 5/6 aggressive minion where he can hit face, for example. So Powder's kind of not afraid of it, and he gets a Shadow Flame here and a Hellfire. So
I want to see just heal bot end turn here. I think it's, yeah, not the right call to go for AoE here.
Yeah, AoE wouldn't be... Yeah, I think I agree with that, just because Powder can deal with well, kind of shown he couldn't deal with the Ancient Watchers straight away. We do see the power overwhelming, but if you look at kind of the lines of play, StanCifka should be thinking, well, if I just heal bot here, I swing my health back up again. If he does deal with my Ancient Watcher, I have a Hellfire, I have a Shadow Flame to be able to deal with anything he plays. It's going to very much come down to Powder's kind of power plays here. He's already lost Stop the Boom, so he's going to be relying on stuff like Sea Giant if he plays it, Mal'Ganis. Doomguard's going to be the big one, so he's going to need to find these power cards in the next few turns if he's want to get back into this game.
Goes for the Shadow Flame, alright. I feel like Shadow Flame is more of a comeback card than Hellfire in general, so I think, yeah, this would be the last card I would have gone for. I would have gone for Heal Bot first, then Hellfire, then Shadow Flame in this position, but StanCifka playing it differently here, going we see the Flame Imp and Defender of Arcus from Powder, alright.
Another heal bot.
So 2 heal bots.
He just loves healing, it seems. He's pretty much a priest.
He's gotta cut Jiraxis at that point. I can't see you playing all of those heals. And Mal'Ganis, wow, alright.
Really late, unfortunately. He would have loved to have had this in his hand when he had Void Caller Death Rattles on the field and would have got this for free almost. And, you know, it buffs those demons and might have given him some better options to trade. Especially with those imps when he had them. But they got dealt with the Shadow Flame, of course. So Thorson, you know, his effect usually finds more value in this, but 2 cards is not going to deal with, not going to do much. But as it stands, StanCifka can't deal with this Mal'Ganis immediately, so it's looking pretty good for Powder.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like Powder is way behind, but the Doomguard, oh my god. This is going to be close.
Doomguard's going to get buffed by that Mal'Ganis as well. He still has to take out that
Ancient
Watcher.
Yes, he's got to ditch the power warming in this position, yeah. And he's going to go for that, but Powder is, yeah, looking to make a comeback here.
And he can tap as well, and he won't lose any life.
There was one turn there where he went for the Ancient Watcher, and I believe Defender of Arcus. And in that position, had he, I guess, had he thought about this tapping there, where he went really defensive at one point, he could have had an extra card. StanCifka could have, because he was at 17 health, I believe, so he didn't really need to play that defensive.
And he would have found the Thorson earlier as well, so he could have potentially reduced his hand cost a bit quicker and had more cards to reduce. But it looks like this Doomguard's going to clear up this Ancient Watcher. And I imagine he's just going to swing. Oh no, he does decide to clear the Thorson, yeah.
So I can only think about one card that would be better to have, I guess, tapped first, and that would be the Egg. You could drop the Egg, power whelm it, and then go for the Doomguard. Whereas I can think of so many more cards would be better to tap afterwards. So Powder going for kind of a risky play, but he did get the natural glue, so I guess slightly better to have tapped first.
Oh, the Dart Bomb. So he just cleans up this Mal'Ganis really easily with a Dart Bomb.
Oh yeah.
And that Doomguard's going to get cleared up with a Mortal Coil.
He could have drawn first though.
That's true, yeah, he could have done the Mortal Coil draw forward, then he's going to slam a Molten Giant. So Powder was looking pretty decent. He had an opportunity to come back with those cards. And he finds a Doomguard again.
I think at best even, honestly.
Oh yeah, okay. So a best even, but he had opportunities to.
Oh yeah, it definitely opened up there in the late mid game now. And going back to late game, yeah, Mountain Giant's not going to do it. I mean, gonna have to tap again. That's just how it's going to go.
Tap into the Junk Heap heal and then probably Defender.
Yeah, it's gonna be Defender, I think. No, actually, yeah. You couldn't play the Mountain Sunfury anyway, so why not just go for the Defender? I feel like they're playing this a bit fast, honestly, for game number 5 elimination.
You know, Powder has a way to deal with this. He could, if he gets a good knife here.
Yeah. Attack first, though. That's the key. Oh,
no, a bit of a sequence error there. He attacking first would have allowed his knight to have a better chance of hitting the anti-heal bot. But it looks like Powder concedes, and the game will go to StanCifka. He will continue to play Hearthstone. Magic the Gathering will not be his calling, as Powder pointed out in his statement. So yeah, that's a really good game. I really like that.
Yeah, 3-2 here. Really even series overall. We had the Paladin be the, I guess, the kind of decider there, and it went down to a Warlock mirror. Handlock proving us stronger than Sue in that matchup.
Yeah, StanCifka was kind of fighting tooth and nail, though. He had a lot of healing available to him, which Warlock generally doesn't have it. Well, Handlock anyway. They tend to run either like a Farseer heal bot or two heal bots. Farsia kind of cycling out kind of the handlock decks over time. When the heal bots start to come in, it's just a bigger swing card for the heal. But it looks like StanCifka will be going to the next round. He will be facing the winner of our next match, which will be Anid versus Gara. So that's going to be coming up very shortly. If you'd like to know more about WCA and this competition, be sure to check out www.wca-europe.com. And, well, what do you think about Anid and Gara?
I think it's going to be close. Gara's been kind of struggling recently. I've been practicing with him a lot. He's been trying a lot of different decks, Paladin, Shaman, Hunter, as usual, I guess. Been having kind of a rough time in the Archon League, but it's been pulling it back recently. Unit's kind of an unknown player. Been doing well in DreamHack. He made top 8 there, but didn't really make it further than that. He did okay in the French lands, so I think Gara's probably slightly favored because he has more experience with the I guess these big tournaments, but Unit's been playing better recently, has a better score as well, so gonna have to come down to the lineup, I feel.
It'll either come down to lineups or maybe it come down to experience. Gara has a lot of experience in Hearthstone and the competitive scene, whereas Anid is a new up-and-coming player, so he still has a lot to prove. So we will be going into the next match very shortly. This is WCA Pro Qualifier, and we'll be joining you soon.